What's up, everyone? Hello, freak bitches. This is Wild Phil with Wild Philosophy. Let's get wild. Today, we are going to. I figured I want to give my spin on this because this is actually one video that I have seen before. I haven't seen it since the first time, so it's been like, I don't know, 6 years, I think. But it's, I mean, as it says in the description, you know, Steven Crowder going at it with Joe Rogan about weed. This is an interesting interview. It really is because, well, it's an interesting clip because we all know how Joe Rogan is about weed. Okay, but let me tell you first, what do I know about either person, all right? It's the wild centrist here. Let's get fucking wild. Let's center ourselves. And how can we be unbiased here? Well, these guys clearly, what I'll tell you I know about them is they both have politically the same views. I mean, that's why he's got them on there. I mean, you'll see in this video, this is, you know, Rogan defending weed. And what do I know about Rogan, right? He was in the comedy scene for a long ass fucking time. He's from, I think, Boston. Then he went to LA. Then he got big, you know, the whole fucking spiel with News Radio and Fear Factor. And like every single comic that I know wants to say, bro, your stand-up blows, okay? Your stand-up blows. You're a great host. You got a great podcast. You got a great thing going for you. You even make me laugh on your podcast. I haven't listened to it in a while because I used to be in the welding union and I haven't had work in a while, so I just like I don't have 10 hours of boringness to listen to something while I'm welding something. I'm not saying it's boring. I'm just saying that I don't have the chance to really listen to podcasts anymore. So, but from what I remember last, I mean, he had that guy that had the aliens documentary recently about in I think it was Venezuela or something. Point is, he's a great podcast host, horrible comedian. Let's just be fucking honest, okay? And as far as weed goes, I got some thoughts on that. I'll talk about it near the end of the video if you stick by. Steven Crowder, on the other hand, what do I know about him? He used to voice Brain on the Arthur show because I grew up on Arthur. I love that show. That show just relaxed the shit out of me. After, you know, 8 hours of fucking getting hit with yardsticks in Catholic school, and luckily I didn't have to blow anybody. But it did bring my self-esteem down because I wasn't hot enough to be molested. But anyways, so Steven Crowder, yeah, he was, and then, you know, he got all big with his show, Louder with Crowder. And then, you know, recently he had his fucking like that video where he's this guy who's about family values and about you know doing the right thing and about traditional. He's shit talking the fuck out of his wife, absolute abuse. And, you know, the side note that I know is that David Landau is a comedian that used to be on his show who I actually think is pretty funny. Coming from another stand-up comedian, I like Dave Landau, but he outed him. He's like, Steve's got issues. I had to deal with his bullshit. So I'm not going to talk anymore. All right, that's what I know about both of them. And of course, you know, everybody knows Steve from the Change My Mind, you know, the table setup at universities, which is so clever, right? Because there's no fucking way anybody's going to change your mind. It's so clever. Be a centrist, bro. If you're going to have change my, at least have a saying like, argue with me, you retard. I shouldn't have said that. But anyways, yeah, like we know you're not going to change your mind. You're set, bro. You're an ignorant fuck. So, like, at least own up to it. So let's watch this fucking thing. Let's see where this goes. Okay.
If I could just relax one aspect of my dialogue, what would it be? Me, it would be my pipe smoking. Your pipe smoking.
I love all right in the beginning. He's just right away shooting and there's Steven. Is this it's legal here, right? It's legal. I don't stand for this.
I probably wouldn't talk about the marijuana issue. That I wouldn't care, because here's the thing: I don't care about it.
One way or the other.
But my issue with it is when, and we saw this in Montreal, I talked about it when people lie about it. and they're dishonest with their voting constituency.
Like how so?
Well, saying, it's medicine for A, B, C, or D. It may be medicine for A, but not for B, C, or D.
Well, what are the B, C's, and D's?
Well,
what are the things that's not medicine
an example.
for?
Well, you're
Oh,
asking me what I
shit.
wouldn't talk about, and
Right.
asking me to defend it.
No,
My
but
point is,
it-
I don't really care about it.
But what are the B, C's, and D? What you said
It
it's
cures
specific.
cancer.
Well,
is
there
one.
has been shown.
It helps with cancer about as much
That
as
it not-
turmeric and ginger. Those
well,
things
all
help
those
with cancer.
anti-inflammatory
yeah,
things.
I know, but it's not a prescription.
But CBD has been shown
With
to have
seizures.
tremendous benefits for cancer and non-psychoactive.
Yeah, and certainly with seizures. I have zero
Yes.
problem with CBD being
Okay.
legalized. But my
Which is
issue
also cannabis.
Okay, guys, coming from the centrist point of view, let me see real quick. I just want to see. This is from. What is this from? It can't be 9 months ago. I don't know when this originally aired, but. And you know what, though? The point is, it doesn't matter when it aired because some of these. Bro. Like, there's a reason why I chose this whole marijuana debate because there's a whole lot of information that people just never talk about. Or they talk about it like CBD, but they don't really do the research. And some people and okay, people are gonna hate me for this, but in this particular instance, like I said, I'm the wild centrist. I'm here to call motherfuckers out on their bullshit. Clearly, Rogan loves his weed. He's an addict. He loves his weed, and he ain't gonna get anybody to talk shit about it. And that is such a pothead thing to do. Just like weed's good for everything. Okay, I put it in my spaghetti. I put it in my steroids, bro. When I kick someone in the face, I put a baggie. I tape it to their cheek right before I roundhouse kick them. He's so like ride or die about weed. It's pathetic. Okay, I'm not hating on. Okay, listen. Like I said, I listen to Rogan. I'm not hating. I'm just doing a centrist, unbiased review. Crowder, in this instance, he's actually right. All these people talking about weed being a medicine, it isn't a medicine for anything. It isn't a medicine. Like, that's why they say, oh, you should smoke weed when you get chemo because it helps you get munchies. It doesn't cure cancer. It helps you get munchies. Some people, when they watch, so basically what you're saying is weed is as effective as slow motion fucking chocolate commercials. It doesn't cure anything. And the reason why I'm so opinionated on it is because I'm epileptic, and they say, oh, CBD cures epilepsy. It doesn't. Listen, anything weed related is a remedy. It's a remedy. Similar to let me think, like what's a good example? I'm trying to think of a good example. It's sort of, it's just like, if back in the day people would get hurt or something, right? They get into some fight and they go, listen, just take aspirin or get yourself drunk. Well, that doesn't act like if you broke a nose or you broke your jaw, drinking or taking aspirin doesn't heal your jaw. It doesn't put it back in its place. So yeah, alcohol or aspirin might be a remedy, but it isn't a cure. And I fucking hated that. Like, what people don't understand is CBD is as corporate and bullshit like capitalists as I love capitalism, but I'm saying the whole CBD industry, it's such a bullshit sell. It's like when Nikes get rainbow sneakers for LGBTQ. They're just making a campaign where they could sell money. They don't give they don't even look into it. CBD doesn't. Let me put it this way. Okay. I'm ranting way too long, but those videos where you see where they're like, there's these kids who are, they're seizing up, right? Okay, let me tell you something I know about epilepsy and CBD. There are epileptics, and you could see I have another video where I talk about my disability and how it affects me in stand-up comedy and life. I got beat up by the cops while having a seizure. They handcuffed me and they Rodney King'd my ass. Check out that video. But what I'm saying is, there's different in epilepsy. There's different triggers. Some people are strobe lights. Some people it's heat. Some people, they just can't be in the sun. Some people get a seizure from anxiety, so they actually have to surgically remove their amygdala, which triggers panic attacks. So it's the fight or flight part of your brain. So there's different triggers of epilepsy, and at the same time, because of so what you look into these kids who are getting seizures because of anxiety, and they have them like every 5 seconds. Of course, CBD is going to help them. But you know what else? If that kid, if his favorite fucking meal is Dunkaroos, maybe giving him Dunkaroos will slow down the seizures because it's lowering his trigger, his anxiety. So it's just a bullshit campaign. They're just trying to sell CBD. Let's continue.
I feel the need to call people out in bullshit when they say,
me too.
The reason it's not is because of big pharmaceutical companies. Hold on a second. There's 7 patents on chemical compounds for marijuana right now.
Right.
The people who stand to make the most out of marijuana legalization are pharmaceutical companies. That's why they make.
That's not true.
Well, it is. If you look at the biggest supplement companies, it's owned by the same pharmaceutical companies.
But you can't patent
and the
a
one
plant.
Yes, you can. They've patented seven at
you
least.
You can patent strains that are
7
GMOs.
Chemicals, no. 7 active chemical compounds in pot that have been patented as drugs. They've gone through the process.
Yeah,
There's
but
one
you
that's
can't
really
patent
efficient.
It to the point.
Another thing to call them out on their shit is I love, you know, like the last video. I have another video where Ben Shapiro, this uptight fucking, you know, right figure, is interviewing a rapper with tattoos on his face. Like right here, you're having Steven Crowder, who like on his show. I mean, what I'm saying is he's keeping his composure because he's arguing about weed and like with facts, with views that like he's trying to have like a, what's the word, like a fruitful debate where things are learned, and Rogan's just hitting a pipe right in front. What are you talking about, man? What the fuck? Like, oh God.
Point where you can't grow pot. How would you stop someone if pot's legal? If pot's legal, how would anyone? And if that's the truth, then that's a real problem.
If pot is recognized as a medicine, right? If pot is recognized, there is no one who would stand to gain more than pharmaceutical companies by providing it as medicine.
That's not necessarily true. If people are allowed to grow it
Maybe it's not
themselves.
necessarily true. I'll give you that. But I also think it's not necessarily true that the reason people can't smoke up is because Big Pharma is sitting somewhere, you know, Martin Shkreli going, oh, let's make pot illegal.
Well, not that
That's
guy.
my only point.
But there are absolutely people who have lobbied, as we talked about how the prison guard union has lobbied to keep marijuana illegal. There's absolutely pharmaceutical companies have done the same thing. It was revealed in the WikiLeaks memos.
See, this is where I was saying
don't interrupt me, you fuck. Where Hillary Clinton said that she's against marijuana in every sense of the word, right? You remember those WikiLeaks?
He's getting triggered.
Yeah.
Don't interrupt me, you fuck.
Yeah, that's actually a constitutional approach.
But he wants to beef up the war on drugs.
You know why? I bet someone slipped him a pot cookie once, and he looked at his hair in the mirror. And
no, he's a teetotaler. He doesn't even drink.
What the fuck?
Sold vodka, doesn't drink. Donald Trump. It's crazy.
Yeah. Ever?
No, he says he claims he's never had a
Colorado
drop.
topped $1 billion in legal marijuana sales in 2016.
Good.
Holla.
Yeah.
Holla at Colorado.
Yeah. But another thing that we just wrote about, and again, people get mad with the weed issue.
So that's probably our answer is it's 2016. Bro, you know what? I went to school. I'm getting too deep in this, all right? But I went to school for like, I was going to be a psychologist, and I'm going to tell you what I think about, you know, I'm a stand-up comedian, but we're here to be a wild centrist. So wait till you hear my review on Joey over here, all right? Because
well, no, traffic fatalities regarding marijuana have skyrocketed.
Google that, because that's nonsense.
No,
you
we
know,
wrote about it at
drunk driving arrests have dropped. What do you mean you've?
You know what, bro?
No, I wrote about what the sources there. The original.
Actually, even though this is a reaction video, I want to quickly do that. Let's see. Let's Google. Have marijuana traffic accidents increased? It is now 2023, so after legalization and the launch of retail, there was a 5.8% rise in the incidence of traffic collision injuries and a 4-point increase in the rate of fatal crashes, according to Farmer and Colleagues analysis. And that's just scitechdaily.com. I mean, you know, let's be fucking honest. What website can you trust? You know, somebody's going to watch this who's also a ride or die for weed, and I mean, who can you trust? You know, what source can you trust? But what I would say is that's I'm the centrist, man. I wouldn't be surprised either way if it rose or if it went down. the thing that I'm thinking about is like, how do you test somebody as high at that moment when they're getting pulled over? Because that shit's in your system for 2 weeks. So, like, I have a little ritual that I do. I don't smoke a lot, but I when I do, my entire life I've just smoked and then watched a really ridiculous movie. That was my ritual. Meaning, like, I can't really smoke unless that movie's there. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm talking about like Naked Gun, Monty Python, anything with Mel Brooks. You know, like those ridiculous airplane that type shit. I love watching those high, but otherwise, I don't really smoke that much. And the thing is, like, what if I had one of those nights? I don't know. I do it maybe, I don't know, maybe once a month. I have one of those nights. So what if one of those nights I smoke and I get pulled over? How are they going to check if I'm inebriated the day that I smoked? Maybe it's 2 weeks later. It's on the scales. So but I will say I'm fucking surprised that Crowder was right there, according to that article that I don't know if I can trust.
Just because someone gets in an accident and they're high.
See,
because hold on, stop.
No, hold on a second. This is
you
because you just
interrupt
want-
way too much.
No, no,
you need to stop.
you talk in
hold on a
paragraphs.
second. No. I don't talk in
Go ahead.
paragraphs. I make full points. If people are high a lot,
Rogan's got
then
such
the
a
same
huge
amount
ego.
of fatalities
That big.
exist.
He just showed it.
But
That
the
big.
people that get checked once they get into these accidents happen to be high. It does not necessarily mean that marijuana caused those fatalities. It could be that you have an increased incidence of people doing marijuana and altercations that could not have been avoided.
It could be.
It could be.
But the statistical change is measurable.
You could have that legit argument for anything else. You know, I mean, just because somebody was on crack and driving 100 miles an hour, that doesn't mean that they wouldn't do that. If they would, you know, I mean, who knows? You can't be like making laws about the what ifs.
well, what is
from
it?
pre and
You're
post.
talking about in Colorado.
In states where it's been decriminalized or
Let's go
legalized.
with Colorado. Pull it
So,
up, Jamie.
hold on a second. You just said, let me make my point. Again, my point is I don't care about it.
Yeah, you do.
No, I really don't.
You don't care about
here's the
people
thing.
dying?
You
You
get
son of
no,
a
you get
bitch.
so touchy about it because someone says, you know what? If people want to smoke up, fine. I just don't really buy the arguments that everyone is in some big conspiracy to try and snuff it out.
No, there
and
are
the
some.
idea and the idea that the drug war will end and the idea that it's cures cancer. I just don't buy that, and
Well, it
people get
does.
so upset.
Well, listen,
That's my only point. That's why I
scientific
wouldn't talk about
studies
it.
have proven that it shrinks tumors, that it helps people with cancer, much like turmeric, much like
Okay.
anything.
All right. We have to look this up now. Hold on real quick. More recently, scientists reported that THC and other cannabinoids such as CBD slow growth and or cause death in certain types of cancer cells growing in lab dishes. Some animal studies also suggest certain types of cannabinoids may slow growth and reduce spread of some forms of cancer. Okay. Now, American Cancer Society. So that's a reputable source, okay? That's something that I didn't know, but the way this is worded, like, reported that THC and other slow growth. Okay, so weed makes you more relaxed. So does that slow the growth? Because I know people who are more stressed, their cancer grows. I mean, I know I've had people in my family where they had an ailment and okay, I'm just going to be honest. Here's what happened in my family. This is wild because it's wild philosophy. I had an uncle who he's in the Polish Navy. And he was in it for life because, long story short, he had a fucked up marriage. So he's just like, listen, I'm Catholic. I can't divorce. So he was just deployed for a very long time, right? And what happened is, out of nowhere, he started, I don't know if he was coughing up blood or shitting blood, but he's like, I don't know what the fuck's wrong with me. And he's out in sea. It literally, like, people don't understand, being on a ship, it sometimes takes, like, up to 6 months to go from sea to sea, from shore to shore. So what happened is they didn't have anything to give him, but he was in horrible pain. So they had all these old ass rations from like Vietnam and World War II because the Polish army they don't have a lot of money, and they gave him morphine, and he ended up. He didn't he took this morphine every day for whatever, a month or two. And then finally when he got inland, turns out he had prostate cancer. And he actually ended up dying because of the withdrawal of getting off of morphine. So what does that have to do with this? Well, because it's stress. Stress grows cancer. I mean, people that's what I've heard. But anyways, so I'm surprised. I didn't know that. I learned another thing. Let's keep going.
Reduce inflammation, including
Turmeric,
CBD
ginger,
oil.
tart cherry.
Right, but it's not necessarily
fighting for
a
those to be-
magical. They're all legal, and there's no issue because they're not psychoactive.
Right.
But they are beneficial. So all these things are good. Marijuana is one of the things that are good. And don't shore, man. Just like you don't shore turmeric, you don't shore ginger, you don't shore a reduced sugar diet. All those things that reduce inflammation are good for you.
I don't buy that smoking marijuana would be as beneficial as a reduced sugar diet. And my point is that people get so offended by me saying that and saying, but if you want to smoke, go ahead.
You might be correct.
Shouldn't be offensive.
But it doesn't matter because it's not a fucking contest to see what's the most beneficial. The question
See,
is
this is the argument of an addict. He just said, you don't shore turmeric, you don't shore garlic, you don't shore ginger, you don't if it's anti-inflammation, man. Well, so you're saying, would somebody who isn't an addict be this defensive about, you don't shore ginger, you don't shore marijuana, but then you don't like garlic? I'm a garlic kind of guy. There's an addict, bro. There's an addict, and it's sad. It's sad, man. Come on, Rogie.
Is it beneficial and is it damaging?
It is. It does matter. The
What's
fact
damaging?
That you said no. Let me finish my point. It does matter. You said, what would you not talk about? I said probably pot because I don't care. Well, what do you think about it?
definitely
I said,
care. That's
this
why
is
you're
what
arguing
I think
with me
about
it.
And your eyes
Lying.
light up, and all of a
Lying,
sudden,
bitch.
where
cares.
ideology and
You care
worldviews
like crazy.
shouldn't be discussed.
No, you
You're
care.
going to laser in like a tractor beam
Okay.
on the most.
Like I said, I went to school to judge behavioral disorders and shit, right? It doesn't take somebody like me to realize who's being defensive here. Okay, guys, really. Who brought it up? Who's touchy about he calls him a bitch? Dude, come on, man. Come on, you're supposed to be St. Rogies. You're supposed to be whatever. The way people look up to, the way these virgins look up to Andrew Tate. You're supposed to be their role model, and you're losing composure because of weed. I don't give a fuck what you do, bro. Whatever.
Important issue of the day that I said I don't care.
You're the guy that thinks people should be able to do whatever. You're a free
Yes,
market guy,
that's
right?
what I just said.
So if you're a free
Smoke
market
pot.
guy, why wouldn't you be in support of something, whether it's the most
I just
beneficial
said I am.
or equally
I just said I
beneficial?
am.
But you're not necessarily because
I
you're
am.
denying.
But because
you're
right now of the
denying-
chemical
Hold on,
compounds,
fuckface. You're
Watch
denying.
it. Come on. Come on. It's a
Hold
good
on,
conversation.
We're
fuckface.
friends. I'm just joking. Since marijuana legalization, highway fatalities in Colorado are at
Hold on a
near
second. You haven't
historic
bringing
Yeah,
up-
we're
you
just
haven't bringing
friends.
up the source
That's why Steven was never on ever again. We're just friends, bitch. Fuckface.
that you want to find.
Washington
Bring up the
Post.
study right there. Yeah, Washington Post. Bring up the study that we wrote. We wrote about it on our website.
Look, I don't care about your website, you fuck.
See, what's funny about this? I'm just zeroing in on these behaviors, right? You realize every time Crowder's bringing up these points that he may be winning. I'm obviously getting on Crowder's side. That's I got off center. Sorry guys, but you realize every time he's doing it, Rogan's losing so bad that he's eyeing over at Jamie the whole time. He's eyeing over at young Jamie, Rogan's own bitch that he treats like shit. He's looking for help from him because he's losing the bro. Rogan, come on, man. No wonder it was hard to find this clip. Okay.
Since marijuana legalization, highway fatalities in Colorado
Since you
are
called me
at
hold on a second.
near
Since you called me a
historic
fucking puss, and you do this with the crazy lady at a
come
comedy
on,
club,
buddy, I
you
like
think if
you.
you scream enough that it makes a point. My point is, I don't
I
care
don't
about
think
it.
that if we
Smoke
scream
up.
enough-
And you just said I was interrupting. You're interrupting now and
Listen,
screaming.
because
I don't
Jamie
care about it
put
enough.
up a post and you're not.
But I
you're
don't buy
ignoring it.
that it's as valuable as a low sugar diet. And the fact
Doesn't have to
the
be
fact
as
that
valuable.
you can't have a conversation about this as civilly as you did every other issue tells me that there's
not true.
there's a problem. This
It's
is
not
this is a TNT powder keg.
I can.
This
The
issue
problem
with
is
pot.
I get very defensive when people start talking over me, and you started it first. But the reality is that
He admits
low sugar
it.
diet is fine.
Sure.
It's good too. Why is there a competition between a low sugar diet and turmeric and marijuana and CBD oil? Why? Why does it even have to be discussed?
Because one is making the claim regarding legality that it cures cancer.
Because
my
the
only
other
point is I
ones
don't
are
believe
legal.
it. No, my only point is
because the other ones are already legal. They don't have to fight for it.
Yeah, but no one's prescribing, no one's dishing out dispensaries for turmeric or ginger.
They certainly are. If you go to these local juice shops,
anyway,
you go to these juice shops, people are promoting
ginger
like
less
crazy, turmeric like crazy. Go online.
You are so desperate to win this
You're
argument.
an ideologue, buddy.
Really? That's an ideologue position by saying leave it to the states?
Yeah, you're locked in, man.
Really?
You're locked deep into this fucking
Locked
red
how
state
Oh my
thing,
God,
man.
bro.
I was raised in a socialist province of Quebec.
Your bread is buttered, buddy.
A socialist province.
Yeah, so that's how that ends. Okay, let's talk about this, bro. Seriously. All right, guys, what the fuck did I just watch? Okay, so I told you that what like, you know, I went to school for I wanted to be a therapist or a psychologist. That's what I wanted to do because I had a lot of issues myself. I was like, I could help people out with this. I could give them a little bit of tips of what helped me. I'm very like last resort when it comes to pills or big pharma myself. I'd never recommend weed, but the point is that like here's the thing about that's so cringy about this is that when I said like let's analyze Saint Rogies, right? Joe Rogan, okay? What I know from my experience, from the tragedies that happened in my life, he's fighting something. People see, this is what people like fucking like him, like David Goggins. You could tell that they have a little bit of like they're fighting their inner demons, and they like to, you know, people who fight their inner demons, including me, they like to sort of like say like, oh man, I'm loving it. I'm loving doing this. I'm loving it. But let's be honest, if those demons were never there, you would prefer that. You would prefer that. Something happened in your life. You know, like when David Goggins is like, oh man, I get up every morning at 3 a.m. and I go running for 60 miles until I'm a fucking, you know, Indiana Jones skeleton. Are you, bro, who molested you? Okay. There's something you're running from. There's something, you're doing that for a reason. You're not, you're at an age where you're not, I mean, clearly you're not into pussy if you're waking up at 3 a.m. to run. What is, something is going on there. And that's what I would say about Rogan is that, you know, there's a reason. I know it because I have a similar personality where, you know, when times get tough, when things get depressing and tough, when unexpected things happen in your life and your reaction has to be to either rise above it or distract yourself. And what Rogan and even I do is you do a blend of both, you know? Some people distract themselves. They get fucking obliterated. They start smoking crack. Maybe they go and get a hooker, whatever. Or maybe they just start a new hobby. And that's kind of like what Rogan and me do. You know, Rogan's into all these things. And there's a reason why he's doing all those things, why he's hunting elk, why he's jumping in ice baths, why he's doing 20,000 roundhouse kicks a day, why he's smoking weed, why he's like all these things. There's a reason you're doing that, man. And I would love for you to go out there and like you might even gain all the people that like you lost, because there's a lot of people, and I'll be honest, they're kind of little bitches who bitch about Joe Rogan like being right leaning, bro. Pull your fucking panties out of your ass, okay? Like seriously, like you can tolerate it. People need tolerance, but the point that I was getting at is, what does this have to do with this marijuana thing? If you look it up, there's a video where there's a jiu-jitsu guy who smokes weed right after he rolls, and he does it because, dude, bro, I did jiu-jitsu for 2 years. And I stopped because I started at 34 and now I'm 36. I tried doing it again like 4 months ago. I broke both ankles. And I just don't want to. I do it for mental health, but also because I wanted to lose weight. I gained a shit ton of weight from taking, they put me on antipsychotics. I was misdiagnosed with something. So the point that I'm getting at is like, you get hurt so much that I have never in my entire life. I'm that immigrant family where they're just like punch a wall or take a shot of vodka when you have something bad in your life. And so I never in my life took Tylenol, took Advil. And as soon as I did jujitsu, bro, I was taking 2 Advils every single night to sleep because everything hurt so bad. I think half of it was I wasn't stretching, to be honest. But the point is, you know, these jujitsu guys, they'd smoke weed. And there's a video where this guy's smoking weed and Rogan goes off on him. You fucking pothead, you lazy piece of shit. You're going to be basically when he went off on him, everybody sort of had the idea of, like Jim Brewer in Half Baked. That's the idea everybody had of potheads. Like you tour with Grateful Dead, you shit your own pants because you take too much acid. You always smell like body odor. You're a fucking nobody. That's what people judge stoners by, and they thought anybody who smokes weed is like that. So that's what he did. And now because Rogan, he's a fucking I'm a astrological personality dork. He's a Leo, so he's super fucking proud of himself. He's proud of his actions. So I think he regrets shitting on this jiu-jitsu partner of his for smoking weed, and now he's fucking addicted, bro. So that's what this is fueled by. Let's get to know Joe Rogan. And, I'm just saying, man, these demons that he's fighting, I mean, I guess what I'm saying is like, this is kind of, all right, this is creepy, but there was a while back where somebody mentioned his wife on his podcast. And I was like, man, that's kind of funny because like a lot of people, we know who Joe Rogan is, right? This whole like, a lot of people think he's right-leaning. He's a hunter. He's a, fucking trans athletes shouldn't exist. He's like this old school, whatever the fuck people say is toxic, right? And it's surprising to me that there's like 2 photos of him with his family. And so that makes me also question like, wait, jiu-jitsu, elk hunting, smoking weed, going on these fucking trips with what's that guy's name on the Maneater? You know what I'm saying? Steven, whatever I forgot what his name was. Fucking, but he's doing all these things. Where do you got time for your family, man? Just saying. Not that let's move on. Not that Steven Crowder is a great family guy according to those videos with his wife, but listen, this is the Wild Centrists, and the judgment of this video is, Rogan, you are a touchy bitch about weed. You are a touchy bitch. You're smoking a shit ton of weed for a reason, and you're really touchy about it because it's kind of a flaw in people, I don't know what else to say. Crowder, you got a lot of your own fucking problems that I'm not even going to get into, but, yeah, I don't know what else to say. It's just funny to me because, what's something that people never talk about, and I want to mention this because this will get some fucking pots stirred, is that I'm not necessarily against weed. I'm actually, the way Crowder was saying, like he doesn't care. I actually don't care. I don't care. But from being that centrist and observing other people's behaviors and actions, every single person that I know so here's my theory, and I got to share it because I want to. Okay. My theory is this isn't this is a very valid theory. I'm not Alex Jonesing your ass, all right? I think every single person has a diagnosable mental illness. But see the thing is, we're raised in a country where everything is a silver bullet, It's like if somebody tells you, "Oh man, I know this one guy, he's schizophrenic," immediately you think the worst schizophrenic you could think of. Fight Club or a Beautiful Mind or One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, whatever the fuck, whatever you saw in movies. And the truth is, there are schizophrenics out there who, like, if we had like a Ghostbusters gun and you could measure someone's mental illness, there's people who are like 10% schizophrenic and they never even get diagnosed with it because they're managing it so well. So, for example, like my therapist didn't even want to tell me my diagnosis because he's just like, dude, everything you've done, EMDR and jiu-jitsu, you've conquered your demons. They're gone. They don't. I could talk about anything, anytime with anyone. It doesn't affect me anymore because I got the EMDR. They get out. They hypnotize my ass. And so, like, what I'm getting at is with weed. Here's the thing. I feel like whatever mental illness that you have, even if you manage it, weed opens that door where it's no longer manageable. That's what it did. It definitely happened to me. I remember it was the first time that I fucked up. It's the start of every single edible story. I took way too much edibles, and I had like a 4-day panic attack to the point where I thought I was going to be like, this is panic attack logic. I thought I was going to be mentally challenged for life. So I grabbed one of my loved ones. I gave him a Rambo knife and I said, I want you to stab me to death because I don't want my loved ones to see me become mentally challenged. So it opened that door for me. And I'm telling you, I know a guy who's bipolar. The weed makes them worse. I know a guy, like, whatever your mental illness, every person I know, when they smoke weed, it makes it worse. If you're a little bit of an overeater and you're like, oh, you know what? I'm going to diet. I'm going to go, to the gym and stuff. Oh, I'm doing great. I'm losing weight. You know what? I should celebrate. Smoke some weed. You're overeating again. Because I think it triggers whatever flaw no human doesn't have scratches in their shine. I don't even know if that's a saying. It's a Wild Phil saying. But I think it opens that door. And I don't know what that door is for Rogan, but that's Crowder won that debate there. Rogan made an ass of himself. He became a threat. He kind of got into his like threatening bro mode, and what a little bitch, because he never had Crowder on again. So anyways, all right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you like my humor. I hope you like my points of view. I hope you hate me too, because that'll get me views too. So if you like this, hit subscribe. Put some videos you want me to review, and I'll do them. I don't give a fuck. Because that's the advantage of being a centrist. I just call out everyone's bullshit, including my own. Thank you. Peace out.